Pawpaw, Sammy, and Allybug here. Today's video, I've been getting a lot of questions on my green worm bin I did a while back. Today's video, I'm trying to come back with that video and show people how to get the best castings, the best use out of that bin without the odor and all the other problems with it. And you can get top quality castings out of that worm bin if you do it right. It's got to be done right. Good morning, people. Pawpaw, Sammy, and Allybug. I did a quick video the other day on this thing, and it was given to me by a lady who had set it up, and it stank so bad, it just almost, she couldn't go in the garage for days. I know nothing about this bin. I have no directions, no instructions, but I think I can make it work. Number one, let's address the odor. Odor is caused by overfeeding. And on YouTube, the videos I saw, at least the ones I saw, they would fill it up with table scraps. I mean, just bags of it. After about 3 or 4 days or a week, I don't care what they tell you, a pound of red wigglers under ideal conditions might eat a pound of food every 2 or 3 days. You don't overfeed. You feed when what they're eating is gone, you add to it. You don't just pile it in there. That's odor. Okay. Let's address the next thing. The castings that come out the bottom is wet and stink awful. They can't hardly get it out of the tray, it stinks so bad. Number one, they're putting too much water in there. What you do with red wigglers, you set your bed up, which I have already set it up just like I do my bins. You moisten the top. Just a little moisture, every day if you want to, on top. You don't want it to go all the way to the bottom and get soaked. If it soaks on the bottom, the worms are going to the moisture. They're not coming up and eating. And that's one reason you don't want to fill this thing up. You put about 6 or 8 inches in the bottom, put your Nightcrawlers, your red wigglers in there, let them start eating, let them sit there a week or so, add about a ½ inch or an inch of new bedding and a little more food, and do that like every 2 or 3 or 4 days. You watch it. As they eat, you add. It's going to take 6 or 8 months to fill this thing up. But when you get it filled up, you can go to the bottom and harvest your castings. And they should be dry, and they'll be tight, but they'll be dry. And you know, when you rake them out, just a little moisture, and they should be in great shape. No odor, hopefully. But where I'm at now, I put the cardboard on the bottom. I put a little paper and coffee grounds and leaves and stuff on top of the cardboard. Dampen it very lightly. Emptied my bin in there with the worms. Okay? Once I got the worms in here, I come right back on top with this, a piece of cardboard. It don't even fit. I just dropped it in there, okay. One of the other problems with this thing is when you close the lid and the next day you open it up, it's full of worms and they're all sticky and goo everywhere, and it stinks. You put the lid on this bin, come back the next day and you got the same problem. Don't put a lid on it. This cardboard in my bins lays right on top, that's it. Nothing else. They're not covered with anything else. And the cardboard don't even fit. It's just something for them to get up under and eat their little banana or apples or whatever, and they'll stay there. Now, this is an ongoing experiment, and I don't want to make no 5-hour video because we all get bored on that stuff. But to rephrase it, I put my shredded paper, my leaves, my grass in the bottom. I put my worms in there, sprinkle some shredded paper on top of it, put my cardboard on. Now, I'm not even going to moisten this. And the reason being, my bin was already correct. So this is correct. So now, no top. That top will never go on here. In fact, I might even take it off. But I'll come back in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and see how much odor we got and see if I'm getting drippings in that bottom pan. If I'm getting water dripping in that bottom pan, this is too wet. Those red wigglers are on the bottom, not up here eating. I'm going to show you something right quick. I've been talking about how I do my arch potatoes. Last year, when I harvested my sweet potatoes, I had a little piece of potato left. I just threw it in the worm bin. So I want you to see this. I was in here looking today. That little piece of sweet potato is starting to put out shoots. So I'll let that go for a while. Then I'll just cut them off and replant them, and I got a little sweet potato crop. Pawpaw, Sammy, and alley-bug here. What I'm doing, the green bin that was given to me, I would not take a chance on putting all my worms in at one time because I just got them restarted. In fact, there's an egg right there, and there's an egg right here. And what I'm doing is right now is I'm going through each of my bins, pulling up handfuls, sorting out the eggs, and I'm putting them right there. I'm taking 20 eggs out of 8 bins, and I'm going to go over there and put them in that green hungry bin. And I'll get to that in just a second. Now my bins are small. You see they're little Walmart bins, okay? So what I do, when I collect these eggs to go in the big bin, one I'm experimenting with, I plant everything in the center. It's hard to show, but I plant everything in the center of the bin. That way when I come back and reach in, I dig out of the corners and get my eggs out. That way I don't disturb the main worms. Because people, in any bin, the mass of worms usually is where the food is. So if you dig the food up, you got balls of worms, but I don't like to disturb them. I really don't. So what I do is, I take my coffee filters. Believe it or not, these worms love these filters. Look at that one, all ate up. They'll be gone in a couple of weeks. I take coffee filters and I lay it right on top of the food. Okay? I make sure the little food's covered. Then I take my waterer. I'm going to have to set it right here for show and tell. There's my waterer. And I come in here. And what I do is, people say get your bin 60% and 23.5%. Keep it damp. Keep it damp. All right, and the reason you keep it damp, red wigglers are not deep feeders. I would, if I had to guess, I would say this bin's maybe 7 to 8 inches deep at the most. Okay? Now what it does, the moisture here and underneath here is the food. So where they gonna come feed? Right up underneath there. When you come back in 4, 5, 6 hours and roll this back, the worms are right there. Most of them. Now you'll find them all around the edge. You'll find them all around. But the majority is right there. And when they ball up eating, they ball up breeding. That's why I'm taking 20 eggs out of 7 bins. 8 bins, I'm sorry. 20 eggs out of 8 bins about every 2 weeks. And putting them over there in the big bin. That's the one I'm experiencing. The last thing I do, after I wet it down with that, I roll the cardboard right back on top. Like I said, not a real tight fit, but it gives the worms something to come up to, and they feel safe and they'll eat. Now bringing these eggs over every 3 or 4 weeks like I'm doing, I'm experimenting here. People are having trouble with these bins, with the worms dying and the odor and et cetera, so I'm experimenting. I started off in this bin with roughly, I'm guessing 600-700 worms. And since I set it up on 131.23, every week or two or so, I come out here and I roll it back. Here's my cardboard and stuff. I dig down until I get to good, dark, moist earth, just like right there. And I take these eggs. I get 20 out of each bin, and I've got 8 bins. And I sprinkle those eggs down in. I cover them back up and leave them alone. Now what happens here, in about 5 or 6 weeks, those eggs hatch. Another 5 or 6, 8, 10 weeks, they will breed. So in just a matter of months, instead of 500 or 600 worms, which was in there originally, 7 whatever, this bin will start growing fast. Then I'll start adding layers of compost, an inch, maybe 2 at a time, and feed them right in the center. That way I can keep track of the numbers and make sure that they're growing without getting anything going wrong. Ready? All right, this is a quick overview of where I'm at with the hunger bin. I set it up 1/31/23. And it's been roughly 2.5 weeks. Now, there's no odor. Everybody complains about the odor, but look, no odor. So here's what I do. See, it's damp. I keep it damp. This is hay and rabbit manure. And look at the worms. See, I don't like to mess with them, but they down in there. And it's not that wet, but I keep it damp. You don't see any stinking water dripping out on the bottom down there in that pan. See, people say, oh, the water dripped in the pan, you put it in your garden, there's too much water. If it does that, it's way too much water. So, the update is, no odor, it's clean, and the worms are doing great. And later on in this video, I'll show you how I've been updating the population where I don't make sure I don't damage any more of my worms. I'm being cautious. Oh, this is different worm feeds. The reason I keep it in plastic bags is to keep the fruit, I reckon it's fruit flies, gnats, keeping the gnats from just taking my building over. When it's locked up like that, plus it kind of decays and gets soft, and the worms eat it faster. So that's what I do, I just throw it back. The worms don't like light. Actually, too much light to kill them. So you need to keep them covered good. This gives you an idea of what the temperature is.
And what's our temperature right now?
Right now it's about 76 degrees.
All right, and the outside temperature, guys, just for an update, it's about 92, and the humidity is pushing through the roof here in South Louisiana.
Now, this is not ugly. This is food. If you'll notice, it won't take long. This will be gone. And the thing about keeping these worms, people, especially environment, how you say it, environmentalists?
Environmentalists.
Yeah. This would be going into the dump, the trash. A small town, just a small average town, dumps tons of this every month.
And that's wood pulp, right?
Yeah,
basically?
Yeah, and what your worms eat this, turn it into this, and which is best for the environment, the dump or this?
That's right.
You would save thousands of dollars every month in a small town. So I mean, this is not just for plants, it's for the environment.
This is actually something I read prior to us doing this was that closed loop systems, if you're interested in creating a closed loop system, this would be your first step, guys. Getting rid of food waste that you, again, would put into your landfill by putting it into your worm bin. All right, explain that.
A quick rundown. 2x8 lumber.
Now, these are treated.
Yeah.
So we put plastic, guys. Keep the worms, keep it from any of this getting wet and leaching chemicals back into it.
All right, come close. And this is what cardboard, leaves, and stuff turn into. There's no odor. That's the prettiest, cleanest dirt you've ever seen.
Now, Pawpaw, Sammy, you say that worm castings are a soil amendment.
Oh yeah, it's better than that. It's from the plants to the plants.
That's right.
Hormones, the trace minerals, hormones, you won't believe it.
I did a little research before you came, and I heard that a lot of people are using bat guano, is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Bat droppings in their gardens that want to be like, sustainably ran. And I did a little research and come to find out there is higher nitrogen in worm castings than in bat poo.
And this will put, commercial, you buy the
Bacteria.
liquid, the fertilizer, little blue crystals you put in
Yes.
water.
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is better than that. It leaves no salt, no chemical salts in your dirt. And it makes your plants good. Don't take our word. Rhonda Sherman, North Carolina University. She is the guru on this.
Yes.
I mean, you can get on her YouTube, and when you finish talking to